Ken, you have been a long-term faculty member here, but you began as a student, didn't you? Can you tell us a bit about the influence that the faculty here had on you as a student?
I very much admired the math faculty here. Gordon Hare was very influential on me. He was so smooth. His handwriting was perfect on the blackboard. His proofs all turned out just right. He was a real inspiration.
You moved into teaching and, of course, industrial work and graduate study, all of that, but it all came together pretty quickly. Tell me a bit about your move into teaching.
Well, I graduated in 1968. That was the year that Lila Schlotthauer retired, and they didn't seem to have a replacement. And they hired me to teach for 1 year. I taught freshman level classes, and it was a great experience. My preparation really had been for teaching at the secondary level. I had earned teaching certification, but I could not resist the opportunity to teach here for 1 year. So
you moved rather seamlessly from student to faculty member. And then after your year here, where did you go?
After my year here, I went to Mount Ellis Academy in Montana, and I taught math and physics.
And tracing this, so you moved from college teaching to academy teaching, and this sort of clarified your goals of moving towards college teaching. Right?
It very much did, and I realized that I needed some graduate work to be able to make a career of teaching in college. Those were the years of the Vietnam War, and I was drafted, but then I got to wondering what would happen if somehow the draft fell through for me. And I arranged for a teaching assistantship the next year and acceptance into a graduate program. And sure enough, my induction into the Army did fall through, and that's what got me started in graduate school.
Right.
I stayed there until I had a doctorate.
I bet you have fun tracking the success of your graduates. I hear you speaking frequently of your graduates and what they're doing.
We are so proud of our graduates. I mean, they're like my children. I mean, there are many that I'm really proud of, but I'll pick out one here, and that's Kevin Vixie. When he was a student here, he had lost his mother to cancer just a year or two before. And then, while a student here, he lost his father to cancer. Tom Thompson and I took him under our wings, essentially, included him in a lot of family activities, and tried to help him. He was one of the most gifted students I've ever had. He went on, after going in several directions, he wound up with a doctorate in mathematics and a job at the National Laboratories at Los Alamos. And finally, Kevin decided that he would like to get into academia, and he's now a professor at Washington State University.
So you are making your students into colleagues.
Yes.
And in this case, working with students to make other students into colleagues.
Yes. One story that's interesting is how we work with the Putnam exam, which is the national competition throughout the U.S. and Canada for math students. The questions on the Putnam exam are extremely difficult. We'd have copies of old tests, and we have seminars where students prepare for the exam. And students that look at these questions and say, I can't do any of them. And we'd work on them, and students would finally realize that one would budge a little bit. And finally, they came to realize that they could do some very difficult problems if they would use the right techniques, but most of all, not give up. I had one student who took the exam as a sophomore, which is really a little young for most students, and she said afterwards, I didn't score any points on the test, but it was a very worthwhile experience. She said, I'm no longer afraid of those problems that come at the end of the problem sets in Calc 4. Well, that's a very big deal to me, that she could look at problems. She's now a nuclear engineer in the Navy. I was talking to the dean one fall, and she asked me, well, what did you accomplish last summer? I went through a list of impressive internships that our students had, and then I went through a list of what the faculty in our department had done, and then I turned to her and said, and I take credit for every one of these. And after a silence, she said, and you should.
That is part of making a community function, isn't it?
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It turns a department into a community.
It does. And I suspect that's a lot of what made me want to come back here. That the math department was a community, the whole college was a community.
In a Christian campus, what role do you see faith as having in education?
It's interesting that you would ask that question of a mathematician. As you know, faith plays no role in the mathematical arguments that we use. We prove things. It's not proving beyond a shadow of a doubt or proving beyond a reasonable doubt. It is actually proving things. That's not to say that faith plays no role in teaching math. One has to believe that students are going to be able to comprehend what is being offered to them. We try to help them along the way, but we want them to have that aha moment where they see it through. That's the great feeling in solving math problems. So you want your students to experience that.
Of all the things that you've done and places you've gone, you have a choice of going almost anywhere, but yet you're here. What keeps you here? What does Walla Walla University contribute to you? We have a big network of friends here, and it's never been clear to me why people would want to leave the Walla Walla Valley. It's a wonderful place to live, and so I guess we prefer living here. I like having the university so close, and friends that are retired, but also friends that are still teaching. All right. Do you have any words you would like to say to former students?
I'm very proud of them for going through a math class and probably having a college degree. They do not have to remember all the theorems of a math class in order to function successfully, but I hope that what they learned in their math classes and some other classes has helped them along the way in critical reasoning skills, where they are able to carefully look at evidence and make judgments.